the subtle art of moving forward and backward, how you align with life's energy flow. Dancing with the universe, discovering the rhythm of forward and backward motion. We often see life as a straight path, always moving forward, striving toward goals, chasing ambitions, and leaving behind what no longer serves us. But let me ask you this. What if the art of living isn't just about moving forward? What if stepping back is not a retreat but a recalibration? The universe itself flows in a dance of expansion and contraction, like the waves of the ocean, like your own breath. Do you ever stop to wonder, are you aligned with that rhythm? In this moment, let's reflect on the idea that every step forward is balanced by the wisdom of stepping back. Life's energy is not linear. It is cyclical, dynamic, and alive. Yet many of us resist the natural ebb and flow. Why? Because we are conditioned to believe that stepping back is failure. But is it? Consider the breath. When you inhale deeply, filling your lungs with air, that is movement forward and expansion. But what follows naturally? The exhale, a contraction. Would you ever judge yourself for needing to exhale? And yet in life we cling to the inhale, afraid of what might come if we let go. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, are you holding your breath somewhere in your life? When we move forward with no regard for the backward motion, we burn out, become rigid, and lose touch with the essence of flow. Moving backward is not a retreat. It is a return to the center, a chance to assess, reflect, and align. Have you ever experienced a moment where stepping back brought you clarity, where letting go revealed a truth you couldn't see before? In my own journey, I've faced times when every ounce of logic urged me to push forward. There was a project that consumed me, a dream that felt just out of reach. The more I pressed on, the more resistance I met. And then one day I stopped, I stepped back, not out of defeat but out of surrender to the flow. And in that space I realized what I was chasing wasn't aligned with my soul. By stepping back, I found a new path, one filled with ease and joy. Have you ever had the courage to step back, and if not, what might you discover if you did? Forward motion is fueled by ambition. Backward motion is guided by wisdom. Ambition without wisdom is reckless. Wisdom without ambition is stagnant. The art of life is balancing both. Look at the trees. They grow tall and stretch their branches toward the sky, but their roots dig deep into the earth. Which direction matters more? Can they truly thrive without both? I invite you to consider your own life. Where are you forcing forward motion, resisting the natural backward pull? Maybe it's in a relationship where you push for answers instead of stepping back to listen. Perhaps it's in a career where you chase the next promotion, ignoring the quiet voice asking if this is even what you want. Where in your life do you need to exhale, to let go, to step back? Ask yourself this profound question. If moving forward is an expression of your desire, what is moving backward trying to teach you? Life's energy flow isn't about choosing one direction over another, it's about alignment. When you align with the rhythm of the universe, you find a peace that transcends outcomes. Imagine walking through a forest. If you only look ahead, you miss the beauty behind you. If you only look back, you stumble on what lies ahead. But if you flow with the path, trusting each step, you experience the fullness of the journey. As we close this part, let me leave you with this thought. The subtle art of moving forward and backward is not about control, but about connection. It is about trusting that every step, whether toward or away, is part of a greater dance. Can you trust the rhythm of your life? The wisdom of the pause, embracing stillness in the dance of life. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what is the purpose of stillness? In our pursuit of progress, we often overlook the power of the pause. Yet it is in the stillness that we find clarity, and in the space between movements that the rhythm of life is revealed. The pause is not empty, it is pregnant with potential, filled with the whispers of intuition, and brimming with the wisdom that guides our next step. But how often do you allow yourself to pause? The universe, vast and infinite, thrives on balance. The stars move in their orbits, yet there is stillness in their constancy. The tides rise and fall, but there is a moment of perfect equilibrium when the water neither advances nor retreats. That is the pause, the sacred moment of alignment. Do you recognize the pauses in your own life, or do you rush past them, fearing the quiet? Imagine an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. They draw the bowstring back, but before they release, there is a moment of perfect stillness, a pause. It is in this moment that the archer aligns with the target, ensuring that their aim is true. Without the pause, the arrow would fly astray. In your own life, how often do you release the metaphorical arrow without aligning yourself first? The art of moving forward and backward is incomplete without embracing the pause. Stillness is not inactivity, it is active awareness. It is the moment when you tune into the deeper currents of life, sensing the subtle shifts that guide your decisions. Have you ever experienced a moment of stillness that changed everything? A time when the world seemed to stand still, and in that quiet you found your answer? When I reflect on my own journey, the most profound moments of growth came not from relentless action, but from intentional stillness. There was a time when life felt chaotic, as if I were being pulled in every direction. I tried to push forward, to fight against the tide, but it only left me exhausted. It wasn't until I stopped, sat in the silence, and listened to the rhythm of my own heart that I found clarity. In that stillness, I realized that moving forward wasn't the answer. I needed to step back, reassess, and align. What might you hear if you truly listened to the silence within you? Stillness is where we meet ourselves. It is where we confront the fears and doubts that drive us to act without purpose. It is where we reconnect with the essence of who we are. Yet many of us fear stillness because it forces us to face the unknown. But isn't it in the unknown that life's greatest possibilities reside? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly allowed yourself to pause? Not out of exhaustion or necessity, but as an intentional act of alignment. What did you discover in that pause? And if you haven't, what might you discover if you did? In the natural world, everything honors the pause. The seasons cycle through growth and dormancy. Even the heart, the very organ that sustains life, rests between each beat. Without the pause, the rhythm collapses. How can we expect to thrive if we deny ourselves the same rhythm? Stillness is also a teacher. It teaches us patience, humility, and trust. When we pause, we learn to let go of the illusion of control and surrender to the flow of life. We begin to see that moving forward isn't always about doing more, and stepping back isn't always about doing less. Both are about being in alignment with the present moment. Can you allow yourself to trust the pause? There's a saying, silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of everything. In the same way, stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness. When you pause, you become aware of the subtleties that are often drowned out by the noise of constant motion. You begin to see the connections, the synchronicities, the signs that guide your path. Do you pay attention to these subtle messages, or are they lost in the rush of life? As we navigate the art of moving forward and backward, let us not forget the importance of stillness. It is in the pause that we find our direction, in the quiet that we hear the wisdom of our soul. Stillness is not a detour, it is the path. Will you embrace it? The flow of life, mastering the harmony of forward, backward, and stillness. Now that we've explored the art of moving forward, the wisdom of stepping back, and the power of stillness, let us weave these elements together into a harmonious flow. Life at its essence is a dance, a fluid interplay of action, reflection, and presence. But how do we master this dance? How do we align ourselves so seamlessly with the energy of life that each step feels natural, purposeful, and free of resistance? Think about a river. It flows effortlessly, adapting to every twist and turn of its course. When it meets an obstacle, it doesn't resist but finds a way around it, sometimes rushing forward, sometimes pulling back, and often resting in quiet stillness. The river's strength lies not in its force, but in its adaptability. Are you flowing like the river, or are you struggling against the currents of life? To master the harmony of life's flow, we must first release the need for control. Control is an illusion, born from fear and the ego's desire for certainty. But life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be experienced. The river does not fight the rocks in its path, it embraces them as part of its journey. Can you embrace the obstacles in your life as part of your path? Moving forward with intention requires courage. It means taking risks, stepping into the unknown, and trusting that the next step will appear even when the path is unclear. But moving forward without reflection leads to burnout and disconnection. Stepping back with purpose requires humility. It means acknowledging when you've veered off course, allowing yourself to recalibrate. But stepping back without awareness can lead to stagnation. Stillness, the pause, requires trust. It means letting go of the need to act and simply being. But stillness without balance can turn into avoidance. The mastery lies in knowing when to move forward, when to step back, and when to pause. How do you discern the right moment for each? Here's the secret. The flow of life is not something you master through effort, it is something you align with through presence. When you are fully present, attuned to the rhythm of the moment, you naturally know whether to move forward, step back, or pause. Presence is the key that unlocks the harmony of life's flow. But are you present, or are you lost in the stories of the past and the anxieties of the future? Presence requires practice. It is a skill, like learning to play an instrument or dance to a new rhythm. Start with your breath. Notice the gentle flow of air as it moves in and out of your body. Notice how the inhale naturally leads to the exhale, how the pause between breaths is a moment of perfect balance. Your breath is a microcosm of life's flow. If you can align with your breath, you can align with life. Can you feel the rhythm of your breath right now? As you deepen your practice, you begin to see the patterns in your life. You notice when you are pushing too hard, when you are holding on too tightly, or when you are avoiding necessary action. You become aware of the moments when you need to step forward with confidence, the times when stepping back is the wisest choice, and the spaces where stillness is your greatest ally. Awareness transforms your relationship with life. Are you willing to cultivate this awareness? The flow of life is not about perfection, it is about participation. You will stumble, you will fall, and you will lose the rhythm at times. But each misstep is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to reconnect with the dance. The river doesn't mourn when it takes a wrong turn, it simply adjusts its course. Can you approach your own missteps with the same grace? Let me share one final story. There was a wise teacher who once asked their student, "What is the sound of the river?" The student replied, "It is the sound of water flowing." The teacher smiled and said, "No, it is the sound of water flowing around obstacles." The river's song is made not by its perfection but by its ability to adapt, to embrace every challenge as part of its melody. What is the sound of your river? As we close, let me leave you with this thought. The subtle art of moving forward and backward, of pausing and flowing, is not about reaching a destination. It is about embracing the journey. It is about trusting the rhythm of life, knowing that every step, whether forward, backward, or still, is part of a greater harmony. Can you trust the flow of your life? Can you surrender to its rhythm and let it guide you to where you are meant to be? May your journey be filled with grace, wisdom, and flow.